like we've got some viewers here, so I'm not talking alone. So I'm going to say, yes, I know the camera is sideways. And so if you could turn your phones or your devices sideways so that it shows up better, it's because what I'm going to show you is better sideways. So let's just get started here. My name is Erin. I'm an educator here with Janome Canada. And I'm super excited to talk to you guys today about Artistic Digitizer and everything that it can do. As you know, we have a trial right now that you can try out Artistic Digitizer on a trial basis, so it's really exciting. And I'm going to show you what you can do today to make an applique with your embroidery software. So this is really exciting, and this software works not only with Janome but with other brands of embroidery machines. So that's really exciting too. So just as a shout out, don't forget our dealers most of them are still open and they're doing curbside pickup, and we still do have drop shipping available, so you can still buy a sewing machine right now. So just ask your dealer for anything that you need because most of them are still open. So I'm going to flip the camera now so that you can see what I'm looking at. So there is the opening page of the software, and hopefully that works out okay. If someone could just let me know if you turn your device sideways, if you can see it, or do I need to adjust my... Can you stop the chats to remove the line? I don't know how to do that. So let me try to rotate my camera. Just close your eyes if you get seasick. And I will position it. I was really wanting you to be able to see the whole screen. So let me just fiddle with it here. Is that better? Okay, hopefully that's better, so that we can see what the software looks like. So this is the open page of Artistic Digitizer, and on the side here, you can make settings. You can change settings for your embroidery machine. So this menu here is where you would choose what machine you have. So I have a 550 embroidery here at home. And so I'm using that one, and I want to use the square 14 hoop. So you can have that as sort of a preset. So that's what all your new files are going to open up as. So I'm going to create a new project today. And so it brings me to an open hoop here with nothing in it. And so then you can see the toolbars and things that are on the software. So we have all the regular new open, save. This is how you would export to your machine up here. You can change the order of things. And then these are your tools for your design. So the first one I want to show you is I want to show you a star shape applique. And this tool here gives you different shapes to work with. So you can choose an ellipse, you can choose a pie, you can choose a rectangle, you can choose a trapezoid or a parallelogram or a polygon here. So I'm going to choose a star, and up here you can see that I have it set to be 5, and you can change the angle and how the rays look. So I'm just going to draw my star. So to draw, I'm just clicking and dragging. And now you can see the star shape here. So now I'm going to actually, if you just give me 1 second, my children behind me left a light on and it's causing a little bit of a reflection on the computer. So I'm just going to fix that. So just 1 second. Oh, it's from my front door. Well, I will hopefully be able to readjust my body and to block it. There we go. That should be better. There should be less reflection there now. So I've made a star here, and as a default, it opens with a step fill. So what that means is the stitches, they just lay flat beside each other. There's no satin stitch or anything with that. So that's what it opens automatically as. So now, if you go over here on the right toolbar, it shows some things that you can do here to change how your shape looks. So you can change it to have a row fill. You can change it to look like a cross stitch. You can change it to look like stippling, but today we're going to play with applique. So I'm just going to click applique here, and then I'm really sorry that you can't see the side toolbars here. I was trying to make it so that you could see without all the comments, and I didn't know how to turn the comments off. So apologies, I can't make it show the same thing as before unless I turn the camera again. So this is as an applique, and what you can see here, I'm going to change my color because it's really hard to see. So it has put, the software has put like a fabric texture in here so that you could see what you are working with as an applique. And then there are choices here. You can change when you trim the fabric. So I always put during embroidery. And then there are different stitches that you can choose to have. So if I go back and unstitch and just click outside, we can see it's just like a running stitch on the outside. And so now when I click it again, now I can tell it, okay, I want to secure my applique with a zigzag, or I can secure my applique with an E-stitch, which is essentially a blanket stitch, or I can secure my applique with a satin stitch. So those choices are things that you can do to make an applique. So this is a very, very simple way to do an applique. So if we go in here to slow redraw, we can see what it would look like on the sewing machine. So we can see, and I'm just going to go make it go faster, that first it does a single placement stitch, and then now we can see it's going around to do a tack down stitch. And so then it will come back, and then it starts to do the satin stitch. So that is a really easy way that you can create an applique. So you might use this if you were going to make patches for mending. You could stitch out an applique, and then you could put the back, put heat and bond on the back so you could iron it on. There's lots of different ways that you can use shapes to make an applique. The other one I wanted to show you that's really cool is how to take an embroidery design and turn it into an applique. So before we were talking about shapes, so this time we're going to insert something from the clip art library here, and I'm going to search for a cloud. There it is. So when I click insert, the software will auto digitize this particular clip art into embroidery stitches. And so then I can just click and drag my design. So I don't want it way up in the corner. So I'm going to center to the hoop so that it's in the middle. And I think I want to rotate it so that it's more straight. So I'm just going to rotate my design. And then I will center it in the hoop again. So now you can see where the design is in relation to the hoop. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I actually want this cloud portion to be my applique. So I'm going to select it, and I'm going to change it over in the properties toolbar. I'm going to change it to an applique. And now you can see it's put some fabric in there. And it has actually made the whole thing as an applique. So I'm just going to undo. You can undo lots in the software. It makes it really easy to use. So before I change it now, this time, when I select it, I have the whole thing selected. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to ungroup. And so that is going to separate my components of my design into separate pieces, because I still want my lightning bolt to be a satin stitch, and I still want my outline stitches here. So now I'm going to select just the cloud portion, and I'm going to change it to an applique. And I'm going to put it as always to remove the overlaps, and the same here with the lightning bolt to remove the overlaps. And so now when you look at it, we can see that there's an opening here for where the lightning bolt is going to go. And then, so what that's going to do is we're not going to get a buildup of satin stitches underneath where the lightning bolt is going to go. So I want it to be a satin stitch for my cloud. So when I deselect everything, we can see that I have a satin stitch around my shape. So when I go into slow redraw, oops, that's not what I want to do yet. Just one second. I want to have my shape here, and I want to convert my outline to an object. So when I do that, we can see that this is where the satin stitches stop. And so that's really important, because then we don't get that extra buildup with the lightning bolt. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change my color of my first step here. When you change colors in an embroidery design, your machine will automatically stop so that you can change your thread colors. That doesn't mean that you have to change your thread colors, but it is handy when working with an applique to have your placement and your tack down stitches in different colors, so that then your machine will automatically stop for you to do that. So we're going to go in here to slow redraw so that, oh, and it still didn't do it. One second. I didn't do something right. Okay, and if I go back to slow read, there we go. So you see here, down here at the bottom where I have a different color. So now when I start stitching the design, it stitches out where my fabric is going to go, and then you can trim it, and then you can stitch it again, and then it will start to do the zigzag or the satin stitch. So if I just make it go forward, we can see right here that there's no stitches here. So that allows you to have less buildup in an applique. So if we go back to the selection, this is what our design is going to look like. It might be a little bit different depending on the colors of the thread or the fabric that you choose, but this is how to turn an embroidery design into an applique. And what I'm going to do later on this morning is I'm actually going to stitch this design out so that you can see, and I will post a picture of what it actually looks like, sort of a before and an after with the applique and the embroidery design. So I have a couple minutes now if anybody has any questions about Artistic Digitizer software and digitizing embroidery designs. So I'll just go back in the comments here to look for questions. So if anyone has a question about digitizing embroidery or making changes to embroidery, now is an excellent time to ask them. And if there's no questions, then I will let you all go. Oh, can those pieces be sent to a cutting machine? Great question. Yes, they can. You can, in the welcome screen here, you can tell it that you want to cut as well as stitch. And I just, there they are, there's the technique. So if I had it as a cut, then I could also cut those shapes out. There is an Artistic Digitizer Facebook group that Anne Hine from our American education team is in, and she can answer lots of questions. Can you digitize photos? Yes, you can digitize photos. And to do a photo, it's a little bit more complicated than what I can show you just here on this Instagram Live. But if you go onto our blog, which is genomilife.wordpress.com, there should be a post in there about paint stitch for photos, and how it turns your painting into just a really beautiful embroidery design. So the application for the free trial code ends this Friday, which is the 15th of May. And then the offer expires on the 31st of May. So you still have some time to download the trial version and try it out and see if you like it. Can you digitize photos to pixel? That is a question that I will have to do some research for you on. I know that you can, when you go into the, it's when you actually import the file. There's a few different choices there for photos. So I will do some research for you and see what we can come up with about digitizing photos to pixel. So without further ado, I'll just flip this so that you can see my face again. Don't forget that your dealers in Canada are open and most of them are taking orders and they can still service your machine. One more question. Can you digitize a logo? Yes, you can digitize a logo for anything. So you can digitize your own logo, or you can digitize a drawing that a child has done. Just be careful with trademarked things, because you would not want to get in trouble for digitizing something that has a trademark already. So just watch that. And without further ado, I will let you guys go back to the rest of your day, and I will post some photos of my designs that I showed you on the computer, all stitched out later on this morning. So I hope you have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. And we've got info on doing an applique on our Genomi Life blog today as well. So make sure you check that out. And I will see you all again very soon. Have a great day. Bye.